talk about how Kamala is the next experiment of someone that they're going to elevate just so that she could be the next level of puppetry in control. And look what's on the horizon with this sudden rise, right, of the most unpopular Democrat candidate 4 years ago. But you look at that, just waging civil war. Now it's happening. Civil war between black men and black women. What am I talking about? This entire election is literally going to represent an internal civil war between black men and black women. Use this as an example. Look at here in Georgia. Who did Stacey Abrams blame for why she lost the election? She blamed black men. Laid it all at the feet of black men because y'all didn't stay on code and do what y'all was supposed to do. So what do we think is going to happen this time on the federal level? Just look at what's been brewing ever since, it ain't been, 2 days since they done elevated Kamala, right? Let me show y'all something. Y'all see this? It says, Black Men for Harris, right? That's what it says. And someone sent this graphic to me, and I thought it was interesting because I said, wait a minute. This look like the Simp Mob to me. Right? It's just a mob of simps. I'm calling it the Simp Mob because these individuals, these are representatives of the Simp Mob. So if you see a bunch of black men in your life or in passing, you hear them talking about that they're with her, yes, they're part of the Simp Mob. Be concerned. Be very concerned. That is your Democrat black Simp Mob right there. So let's identify. Of course, y'all got Steven in the front. Clyburn right up there at the top. You got Brandon, the communist from Chicago. Absolutely. I don't even understand why Chicagoans are confused how their city got towed up when he told you he was going to be friendly to the migrants. I'm sorry, the illegals. Then you got your Don Cheadle, Said the Entertainer, can't forget number one simp of them all, Ricky Smiley. And then the loudmouth simp at the bottom, you got Stephen A. and a whole bunch of other people that you might recognize and be able to identify by name. But look at these men. And then look at the URL at the bottom of this graphic. Y'all see that? secure.actblue.com. Okay? So this is the Simp Mob. These are part of the Afrostocracy, right? This is a nice little cross section of your preachers, politicians, your performers, your pundits, your professors. Look at it. These are the cowards that parrot the destructive message of melanated Marxism and communism, yet they don't live like it though. They don't live like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it down. And I just want to talk a little bit about that because what you need to know is that the Simp Mob, they get paid to stay on code and to usher in the demonic agenda of the perverted left. They know that a huge portion of black people idolize and hang on to these people's every words of their pawns. So whatever the pawns say, they know black people gonna jump on board. We're not gonna think through it. We're just gonna be like, well, Ricky Smiley has said, or Stephen A. Smith has said. So they'll just be on board with it. But here's the thing. Recently, in addition to the Simp Mob, right, the black male Simp Mob, there was a call of over 47,000 black women. Well, y'all know me. I always give them names, but this one I'm really nice and gracious about it, right? The 47,000 black women that were on this Zoom call, right? I call them the Black Democrat Wench Mob, right? So you got the Simp Mob and then you got the Wench Mob. And then together, the goal of these two groups It's to convince all of the blackies, right, to support and vote for Kamala. That's the goal. Let me show you how they've already started using the apostate pulpit pimps. Y'all take a look. Take a look at this.
I didn't think it was real.
Pastor Jamal Bryant leads New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, one of Atlanta's largest, and just recently met with the vice president.
History was made within 6 hours. She was able to raise $63 million.
Georgia was crucial to Biden's win in 2020, when he became the first Democrat to win the state since 1992, defeating Donald Trump by fewer than 12,000 votes. Black voters made up nearly 30% of the electorate and backed Biden by more than 70 points.
The most consistent voting bloc for the Democratic Party has been black women.
Those numbers are not lost on either campaign. Trump's allies quickly launched ads attacking Vice President Kamala Harris in the wake of Biden's exit from the race.
Last night we did a Zoom call for black women, 47,000 black women on one call. And so I'm telling you, it's really a movement that is taking place. 100 days to go is going to be something that America has never seen before.
Yeah, Anderson, even right now, I'm watching a Zoom call with black men. Last night was black women. Over 20,000 black men are involved in the Zoom call. They've already raised over $100,000.
For the melanated mafia, my question is, how important is black churchianity, right? Black churchianity is very important for the melanated mafia. And Jamal Bryant, he's not alone, you guys. I know y'all think I be beating up on Jamal so bad, but it's so easy, but he's not by himself. I would throw Rafael Warnock in that. Both of them are in lockstep with melanated Marxism, right? These are your colored communists, right? These men who both identify on paper as a pastor, they're both functional atheists, right? Sure, yes, they use religious sounding language. One's a little bit more charismatic than the other. Like Jamal, you're going to see him hollering and holding his ear and, showing out in the pulpit. Warnock is a little bit more reserved. He still wears his pastoral stole and his robe. He looks a little bit more astute in his, and he kind of gives you like old school Baptist preacher vibe, but void of the spirit. Yeah, so both of them are representative of these functional atheists using religious sounding language, but y'all, they do not bow the knee to the one true God. How do we know this? We know this because they preach and support an ideology that is the opposite of what the God of the Bible has revealed to us from the scriptures. We know this, right? The Bible has revealed how Christians are supposed to live, and these gentlemen actually preach the opposite. For example, you have Warnock, who claims to be a pro-choice Christian. Like, what in the heck is that? What is a pro-choice Christian? Like, the Bible knows of no such category of a man born from above, filled with the Spirit of God, that thinks anyone should have the right to assassinate their own child in the womb. That's just crazy. That's called murder. But he calls himself a pro-choice pastor. You never hear any of these Marxist-minded pulpit pimps advocating in support of the family. You never will hear them talk about that, right? Like marriage between a man and a woman, and then as a result, children born in the confines of marriage, they don't talk about that a lot. They are in support of policies that actually destroy the nuclear family. Like, for one, look at Jamal Bryant. The logo over there at New Birth is literally the BLM fist, right? Like, he's telling you right there in plain sight what he supports and what he believes. And this is why he can attend a conference with a known practicing homosexual who's married to a man and then apologize to him on behalf of the church. Yes, he did that. He offered an apology. Now, his apology came on behalf of the Church of Satan because Yahweh, the God of the Bible, was not a part of that. But that's the God of Jamal Bryant. And so the Democrats They know that the apostate black church is one of their primary conduits to simply usher in their wickedness. And do you know what? You know what? Like, it's been working. Like Hillary said, is it working? Absolutely, yes, it is working. They know exactly which disciples of darkness to go to. They know, and they know which ones to go to and which ones within the who's who of black churchianity. They know them by name. One, those pastors are already compromised, so it's easy. Jamal Bryant is an extremely valuable asset to the melanated mafia. His reputation's already marred, and it's marred by his own self-doing, right? He did it to himself. He lacks self-discipline, right? No control over his loins. So he's perfect. He likes women, he likes money, and he likes controlling people. It is the perfect combination. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna start to see more. In the upcoming weeks, you're gonna see more of this. Every week, Jamal is in his pulpit, reinforcing mental slavery and preaching spiritual bondage with a toxic message to ethnic Black Americans. This is why the men in his church are to be pitied, not respected. Sorry if you go there. I don't know what you want from me. He literally breeds simp soy boys, right? That bow the knee to whatever the Black women in their lives say, or the Black women in their sphere of influence, whatever they tell them to do, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. All throughout his sermons, you're not going to hear the gospel of Christ proclaimed. You're going to hear a message that is fueled by the spirit of hatred, his blatant racism that just comes across the pulpit, right? You're going to hear a whole bunch of victimization and the whole time, while you hear all that, he'll be siphoning money from his own people to enrich his own pockets. When you examine a Marxist, they will always preach a socialistic, Marxist-minded type rhetoric, but they don't live that way. They don't live that way themselves. They live and move in the world like capitalists. They sell their books. They live in big, beautiful houses. They don't live near no poor people if they can help it. And they're always flossing and showing off their cars, showing off their little ugly, just bootleg looking designer clothes, showing off all their material things. Let me show you another example of what I'm talking about. I got to show y'all this one. This was a Twitter post that I came across. It's by Insurrection Barbie. And it says, there is zero chance on this planet that in 24 hours, 880,000, mostly first-time donors, donated $80 million to Kamala Harris. The woman who got less than 1% of the vote in 2020 has a 37% approval rating and is polling worse than Joe Biden. The tweet goes on to say, they are laundering money through Act Blue. How stupid do they think people are? So I'm showing you this to further support what I'm saying. You see this post. My question to you guys are thinking people, got your thinking caps on. How do you explain all of a sudden the candidate with less than 1% of the vote in 2020, polling worse than Joe Biden as of 2 days ago? How do you explain that?
They didn't just find out that Joe Biden has experienced cognitive decline. They didn't just find out that the man has dementia. All of those people in the Democratic Party who were pushing for him to step down or pushing for him to not seek re-election, they've been interacting with him. They've been talking to him. They know perfectly well that the man has lost his mind, and they've been knowing that for 4 years, and they didn't mind. This isn't about wanting him to step down or wanting him to step aside. because they think that he's not competent. No one ever thought he was competent. What it's about is that you know that when your own people, your own Democrats, your own liberals are making fun of Joe Biden online, on social media, on television, in the mainstream media, and so on, the man has become a laughingstock. That means that him winning in a rigged election wouldn't be plausible. No one would believe that. It was barely believable even in 2020. So there's no way that you could get people to actually believe that Democrats turned out in significant enough numbers to give Joe Biden a victory in 2024. He was asked to step down or asked to step aside because the Democratic Party knows that if they want to sell their appointed president to the public as if they were democratically elected, there has to be some degree of plausibility to that. You see, if they could have, they would have given the Democratic Alliance in South Africa the full victory, but it wasn't plausible. So there has to be some degree of believability. I don't think Kamala Harris is any more popular than Joe Biden, and she's not much of a better speaker. It's a choice between Kamala Harris, who always sounds like she's a little bit drunk, or Joe Biden, who sounds like he's in a perpetual fugue state. However, with Kamala Harris, you have certain factors that will be very appealing to the liberal base, to the Democratic base, that allow you to craft a narrative that makes her victory plausible, regardless of whether she gets the votes or not. If she's appointed as the winner in a rigged, unfree, unfair election, which is what you have in the United States, because, as I say, that's what the United States tries to ensure you have everywhere else in the world. So you better believe that they make sure that in their own country, it's just as controlled and managed a process as it is a controlled and managed process anywhere else in the world that the U.S. has a hand in it. So when they appoint the candidate whom they want to win, who they've decided to win, who the oligarchs have decided should win, they need there to be some democratic plausibility to that win to make people think, either make people think that yes, they did, this candidate did in fact win, or you make such a convincing and coercive and manipulative narrative around that candidate that no one will admit that they didn't vote for that candidate. In other words, she's going to be the first woman president. Well, wouldn't you be ashamed of yourself if you didn't vote to break the presidential glass ceiling? She's a woman of color. Well, wouldn't you be ashamed to say that you didn't vote for a woman of color? Well, that would make you a racist. If you don't vote for her, then the only two reasons that could possibly be is because she's a woman and she's a woman of color. So that means you're a misogynist and you're a racist. So you can craft a narrative around her that everyone will want to say that they voted for her, even if they didn't turn out to vote at all. Because we're going to hear nothing for the next 3 months except how excited the Democrats are, how reinvigorated they are, and how thrilled and breathless with anticipation the American people are for being able to finally achieve this first woman presidency in the United States. Everyone is excited about it. So therefore, when she is appointed as the president, if that's what happens, when she is appointed as the president, everyone can believe that the hype got her elected, even if no one shows up at the voting booth. And when everyone starts cheering in triumph and applauding and congratulating themselves for being so progressive and so liberal as to elect the first woman president and the first woman of color as president, well, no one will be willing to say that they never voted for her. So it's a very, you have a lot of strategies that you can use to convince people that it's either believable that she won or it's unthinkable that you would deny that she won.
Why is all of this important? I'm trying to uncover, plain and simple, the kingdom of darkness, right? And I'm just trying to shine some light on his tactics so that you'll be aware and, more importantly, be sober-minded. Not only that, my ultimate goal is to uncover the precise reason why, if you are a believer, you don't have a choice but to choose Christ over color. You have to choose character over constructs and country over categories. Because if you try to align with this mess on the basis of, well, you know, I gotta support my people. No, your people, if you name the name of Christ, your people are the ones who do the will of the Father. Those are who your people are. You don't side with any side on the basis of them being your people, right? You have to look at what you're supporting. Look at what they are advocating. And your goal is to be found faithful, not following the world and its evil corruption. You don't have to like the personalities of either of these candidates that run from the federal government on down. Their personalities are irrelevant. You need to grow up and elevate your thinking and look at the policies. Because if you're a Christian, love of neighbor doesn't look like you supporting people who are blatantly in your face doing corrupt things to subjugate others for their own personal gain. Because love seeks no harm. And the people in charge are the people who have always been in charge, making sure that the ones in the community stay oppressed and stay dependent on them for their every waking need. I only know two things that scatter when light is shown. It's the unfruitful works of darkness, which is Satan, you know, the devil, and roaches. The devil and roaches. Now you telling me that you want me to be on the side of the devil and the roaches? I'm from New York. I ain't got a good relationship with roaches. Can't stand roaches. Heaven forbid. You choose Christ, dear ones. You choose Christ over color. I don't care. You don't have a choice. Examine your heart. Ask the Lord, reveal to me. Ask him to reveal to you if you have this unhealthy preoccupation with your ethnicity to where you're siding with wickedness and wicked policies simply because the ones pushing and advocating it look like you. No. You ask the Lord to show to you and to reveal to you ways that you've made blackness an idol. Because all of us have had to do it, or we are guilty of doing it on some level. You ask the Lord to show you if you've avoided fellowship with other people, who you've avoided being charitable or thinking the best of other people who don't look like you, not because they've done something to you personally, but because you have hatred in your heart on the basis of ethnicity. And now you're struggling to see how can you have fellowship or a common bond of gospel unity with someone simply because your skin color is different than theirs. We expose it. You shine the light of the gospel on it. And I promise you, the Lord is faithful and he will heal you. He can heal that brokenness. He can help you to realize and understand that it's the power of the gospel that unites us. Not these dermal features. It's the power of the gospel that unites us. And it's the power of the gospel that sanctifies us.